I need a cameraman desperately. What's up everybody, JayzTwoCents here, and I'm gonna do something that I haven't done in quite a while, and that is I'm going to do an Ask Me video. And a couple days ago, I put out on Twitter and Facebook, hey, ask me your questions. They don't have to be tech related, they could just be pretty much anything. I wanna have some fun with this. It's literally been over a year since I've done one of these, so let's have some fun today. Built with primo components and cutting-edge technology, the ASRock Extreme Series motherboards make content creation easy. With support for NVIDIA Quadro and AMD FirePro workstation cards, triple M.2 32 gigabit per second sockets, and support for DDR4 ECC memory mean you can create your content with confidence. Learn more about ASRock's line of Extreme motherboards by clicking the link down in the description. One of the things I like most about Ask Me videos is the fact that you don't know where the video is going to go. And heck, even I don't know where the video is going to go. I've sampled some of these questions, but I'm going to kind of read them and answer them on the fly right here. No prepared answers. I'm just going to be like, whatever Harry Potter spell would be, to pull it out of my brain and throw it in your face. But anyway, make sure you watch to the very end because I do have some information about things that are coming up here on the channel, especially the end of this week. So I want you guys to kind of be informed and know what's going on regarding Tech Talk this week and all that stuff. So watch until the end of the video. All right, so starting off on Facebook, Nicolaj Christensen, hope I'm not mutilating your name. He says, what blowed your e-mind most about getting this big on YouTube? I've said it before, and I think I said it in the video I put up about me quitting my job a year ago, was I had zero expectations for this to ever go anywhere, let alone 601,000 subscribers as of making this video. That is an absolutely mind-blowing number that enough people like you want to watch an ugly guy like me talk about computer stuff. This one's a pretty good one, by the way. Eric Huber, I think it's Huber, says, how is balancing family life with social media? I see a lot of people tend to post everything about their personal lives to their audiences, definitely not saying that you do, and I wonder sometimes what their families think about it. He says he naturally assumes that there's a general understanding, but sometimes I wonder what family members of YouTube celebrities think about the lifestyle. Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, we're all human, at least most of us. And the general reaction of friends and family tends to be very similar of that of the viewers of, is that a real job? Is YouTube really a real job? And then they see the potential income and they're like, whoa, how do I do that? But ultimately, I don't put anything on camera in any of my vlogs on the vlog channel or on the tech channel that anyone around me wouldn't want aired. So if little Jay doesn't want to be on camera or she doesn't want anything shown that day or the wife or whatever, I don't show it. I respect everyone's privacy. As much as I want people to respect my privacy, I respect everyone's around me. And I don't go shoving cameras in people's faces, which is kind of the nice thing about not being like a daily vlogger or a lifestyle vlogger. I just do the tech stuff. And most of the time I'm just shut up in my mom's basement here, like you would kind of expect, right? No, I don't really live with my mom in her basement. It's California. We don't even have basements, because earthquakes, they'll fall in on you. I'm starting to think that all of my Facebook followers are foreign because this one comes from Sandaras Skukkauskas. How much does Skunkworks pull from the wall while gaming? That's a good question. In fact, I already have my kilowatt out and I'm planning on doing a video about the amount of power that computers pull from the walls, including this big behemoth behind me, which, by the way, that is orange fluid, not red. It's just the way the camera looks, whatever. Brian Schaefer says, any tips for followers that want to start their own channel or make tech videos? The only advice I have, quite honestly, is do it for fun and expect nothing. Do not expect to become e-famous. Do not expect to become rich. Do not expect to get things for free. Just do it because you love it. That's how I started. Anyone that starts with any of the three intentions I just said, to get famous, to get rich, or get free stuff, are doing it for the wrong reasons, and you will fail. Your audience is going to see right through anything that's fake, and they're gonna call you out on it regularly. In fact, they're gonna call you out on things that aren't even there, but I digress. The fact that if you are trying to do this for personal gain, other than the enjoyment of making videos and sharing a passion for tech, don't bother. No one will watch. Nathan Warland says, what got you interested in the Z platform? I think it's one of those things that ever since I was a kid, seeing like the Datsun 280Z, I just thought the car was really neat looking. It really came down to the way it looked. And then as I got older, I cared more about performance. And then I kind of forgot about the Z platform for a long time. And then once I got back into cars, I tried out the 350Z, and you guys all know how that went. Got rid of the 350, got the 370, and the rest is history. There's a lot of cars I would ultimately love to try out because I'm a car enthusiast. But the Z platform, when it comes to imports, is by far my favorite platform. Here's a good one. Alex Goulet, maybe it's French. He says, how much do you actually spend on parts versus what manufacturers give you to review? It's actually a good question. It's kind of three different things that take place here. There are a number of parts that I purchase simply because I don't just write emails and be like, hey, I need this, send it to me. So if I need something that I don't have, I'll just buy it for the most part. Sometimes I'll ask a sponsor to get involved, like for memory or something like that. But if I need hard drives that I don't have, I don't even have a hard drive supplier. I have some SSD suppliers, but I will just order it from Amazon, or I'll go out to Fry's or Micro Center or something like that. Processors though, and all of the time I've been doing this channel, I've only received one processor for free, and technically two. One AMD 8350, which was in the AMD giveaway build, and then the Z170, the 6700K. The 5960X, the 5930K, the 5820K, all that stuff I bought. I bought all of that. That's out of pocket. Carlo Yantada says, of all the things people ask you to give them for free, was there an odd request that surprised you? Yeah. Someone wanted like a used pair of my bike shorts. I mean it, Jerry. I'm not giving you my bike shorts. Stop asking. Nathan Bingman asks, what was the most off-the-wall weirdest thing you were asked to review? I put this on Twitter actually, and I think it went to Facebook as well. I was actually asked to review condoms. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. It happened on April 1st, but the company was legitimately asking me to take their condoms, which apparently are made from some synthetic material that's supposed to be super pleasureful or whatever, and talk about safe sex and STDs and stuff to my audience and be creative with visuals about a condom. Yeah, they were serious about that. I don't know how to use a condom. Benjamin Harrell says, what do you think about used PC parts? I think if you trust where they're coming from, there's some sort of a measurable history of what the card has gone through, or the CPU or motherboard or whatever it may be. I think used parts are definitely a good way to save some money and get something better, especially if the seller is like on a forum, like Hard Forums or overclock.net, and they have good buyer feedback and seller feedback. Then I would definitely recommend doing that. You can save some money and get better hardware. I've done it in the past. Lots of my builds had used hardware that kept going and going for years. I see nothing wrong with it as long as you trust the seller and they have good feedback. Carpat Zoltan, epic name, man. Is it true that Jerry, AKA Barnacles, worked at Microsoft? All right, I'm gonna blow your minds here. Now I hope you're sitting down, all of you. Jerry, AKA Barnacles, did in fact work at the Microsoft food court at Sbarro for 15 years. It is absolutely true. Confirmed today. Klaus Bello says, if you could change things you did in the past, what would you do? You know, I am of the mindset that changing our past can dramatically alter our future, and we don't know if that's gonna be for the better. Say, for instance, I didn't finish college. If I'd gone back to college, would I have gotten a different job, and it would have put me necessarily on a different path to where I never would have ended up where I am today. So I tend to take all of the mistakes that I've made in the past, try and learn from them, and make a better future out of our failures. If we always succeeded and went back and changed the things that we failed at, I don't believe we'd ever succeed. So I wouldn't change a damn thing, quite honestly. Daniel Hernandez says, how do you balance it all? What's your driving force and why YouTube videos? I have covered this in the past. I'm not going to go into this story again. In fact, I recently talked about it in my 1-year self-employed video. It all started on a dare, and my driving force is you guys. You guys, I feel like quitting all the time. Humans naturally become complacent, and they're like, this is boring, I don't want to do this anymore. And you start to kind of want to give up. But every time I read your guys' comments that say you're doing an awesome job, I love what you're doing, I love your videos, I can't wait for your next upload, that drives me to keep going and make great uploads for you guys. And on the flip side, the haters out there going, you're ugly, you're fat, you're terrible at this, kill yourself, why do you keep doing this? I keep doing this too because it pisses them the fuck off. And pissing off haters is probably one of my favorite pastimes. And if that's you right now and I just triggered you, good. Smikey Mikey on Twitter says, when I get my Mustang finished, do you want to run them? LOL. You mean run them over like the crowds and shit? Burn! Oh! So here's one from @MichaelG.Powell, and this kind of goes with a little bit like the one we talked about earlier on Facebook. It says, prior to YouTube going full-time, how did you find fitting in tech and gaming into a schedule with a job, family time, chores, etc.? I'll be honest, I have less time to game now than I did when I was working full-time. Well, working full-time without YouTube, I should say. You know, you go to work, you get off at a certain time, you come home, you sit down, you relax, you kick off your shoes, your kids jump up in your lap if you have kids anyway. You spend some time with them, you do dinner, they go to bed, maybe you get in some games for a few hours, go to bed 10, 11, 12 at night. Get up in the morning, you get 6, 7 hours of sleep, and then do it all over again. However, now being self-employed, you know there are, or maybe you don't know, there are no regular hours in this. It's all hours of the day. You're dealing with work in the evening, work in the daytime, and as much as you try and set yourself a set schedule, you have to work until the work is done. You can't just be like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, I'm done, I'm out, I'm clocking out, gone. It doesn't work that way. So I have less time now at the end of the day because I'm an editor. I am a on-screen personality. I have to do the research. I have to do my bookkeeping, my billing. I've got to do my invoices. When I get done with this video, I've got to write some invoices. I've got to prepare for a trip that I'm leaving on tomorrow. At the end of all this video, I haven't even started packing or preparing for that yet. I've got to make sure that every single cog in this gear system is smooth, greased, and running. And it's when you're doing this by yourself, unfortunately, gaming takes a huge backseat, and I just don't get to game anymore like I would want to. So I find balancing my time now is harder than it ever was before. At Resno says, how did you meet Coconut Monkey? We actually played on the same semi-pro paintball team. We played airball over at ASG in Southern California, and we were friends ever since. Basically, he looks at me kind of like a mentor, I think. I'm 10 years older than the guy. Every time he comes over, I feel a little creeped out by the age difference. At GoToTechReviews on Twitter says, will you be updating to Bridewell E out of the gate? Then he says, even though I think I know the answer. I don't know the answer, so I don't know how you know the answer, but I don't know if I want to update immediately. 10 cores, 20 threads, that sounds freaking amazing. It's a lot of work to get to the CPU in here, and again, like I said earlier, I don't get supplied CPUs. I mean, I do have a somewhat of a working relationship with Intel. I don't know if I'm gonna get one. They haven't approached me about anything, so I have no idea. And if it's, you know, $1,000 or more, that's a lot of money to drop for 2 cores and 4 threads on something that's already exceeding what I need my computer to do. So I really don't know. The enthusiast in me wants it. The practical guy inside of me basically just says, ow. At 68, Hemi Dart says, what are your future goals for your channel and just life? I'll be honest with you, I feel like I'm lacking some long-term goals right now, and I'm trying to figure all of that out. I do think expanding this into a little bit more of some sort of an empire, more than just myself, would be amazing, but I'm a micromanager. I don't think people like working with me because I'm a micromanager. I tend to be a little bit of a hard ass when it comes to work ethic, and I think I would have to be very, very selective over who could work with me. Not to mention, the person who works with me has to be able to deal with me, because I'm not necessarily the easiest guy to work with when it comes to actual work ethic. Yeah, hanging out with me, having fun, making videos, that's one thing. But when it comes to business, I'm a bit of a hard ass. And it was one of the reasons why at my old company, I tend to work my way up through the ranks pretty quick. I wouldn't say pretty quickly, but pretty steadily, because I was known as the kind of guy that was like, fucking kick ass, don't take names, and just get shit done. And that's my ethic. And sometimes people don't mix very well with that. I think that leads to like a bigger problem in the world right now when it comes to people wanting things and not having to work for it. I tend to be the opposite. Maroon Sphere, sorry, I know I'm wrecking your name. I apologize, buddy. He says, have you ever been tired of YouTube to a point you thought of quitting? Yes, just like I said earlier to the other question, that sometimes, you know, you guys are the drive that keeps me going. Sometimes the audience is what makes me want to quit, to tell you the truth. And yeah, I think we've all reached a point to where we've considered quitting YouTube. But I try not to be a quitter. I've quit many things in life. YouTube has been one of the most successful things I've ever done. And I just don't want this to end. I want to enjoy it. I want to adapt with it. I want to evolve with the ever-changing landscape of being a YouTuber, because that keeps things pretty exciting. I just hope that I can prepare for my future enough to where if everything just falls out of the bottom of the floor, to where I can just change gears and do something different. But I think I've created a name for myself now to where I can experiment outside of YouTube a bit and just kind of see what happens. At My Own Rules says, why EVGA over ASUS? Well, I've used EVGA for years and years, and I've used ASUS products in the past as well. But when it comes to sponsored builds and things, I would like to sample other brands than just EVGA. They are arguably one of my favorite. To be honest, ASUS will not send me anything. ASUS will not even respond to emails anymore. I've had some conversations with them in the past. ASUS basically just will not send anything. It goes a little bit deeper than that, but yeah. If you guys are wondering why I don't do Asus on this channel, because they refuse to work with me, pretty much. With that said, guys, it is time to get out of here. Thanks for participating in this Ask Me. Maybe I'll do one of these a month or something. I don't know. Anytime I've ever said I'll do something once a month, I never do. But it is time to go. I have to prepare for a trip. I'm heading to an NVIDIA event tomorrow. From the time that you guys are seeing this, tomorrow morning, I'm getting on a plane and I'm gonna be gone till Sunday. So I'll be doing some vlogs there. Hopefully you guys will enjoy that. There's gonna be some other tech YouTubers there, so it should be interesting. But yeah, that's why I'm doing this kind of a quick, easy video, because quite honestly, I've got a lot to get done. So I hope you guys bear with me. But anyway, yes, that also means because I'm going to be gone tomorrow, it's very unlikely that I'm gonna be doing Tech Talk. I have no idea what the hotel Wi-Fi is gonna be like. So I don't think Tech Talk is gonna be happening this week. I am sorry for that. I know we do that a lot. We miss Tech Talk quite often. But remember, Tech Talk for us is about kind of just hanging out at the end of the week. It's not a revenue generator or anything for us. So it's, unfortunately, sometimes when time runs out, Tech Talk has to take a backseat. Anyway, I am gonna go, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this Q&A. Keep asking your questions and maybe you'll make it into the next episode. With that, I'm gonna reach all the way forward here because again, I still have absolutely no cameraman. See you next time.